Hogwarts Legacy has been a huge success for Avalanche, becoming the best-selling game of 2023. But despite this massive success and huge potential, there's been no announcement of any DLC for Hogwarts Legacy. The Switch version is releasing this week, but after this, no one really knows what's next for the game. Now, there has been some recent interesting news from Warner Bros. About the future of their games, so in this video, I'm going to be breaking down their recent announcement and discussing what this means for the future of Hogwarts Legacy. First up, let's take a look at what actually suggests that there will be a sequel game for Hogwarts Legacy. The number one giveaway was these job listings posted this summer by Avalanche Software, the developers behind Hogwarts Legacy. Avalanche was hiring for 2 software engineers for an unannounced AAA console title. This was located at Avalanche Studios in Salt Lake City, where Hogwarts Legacy was indeed developed. This was super exciting news when these listings were first discovered, but it's still super relevant. I'll be talking about this in more depth later in the video, but there's been no DLC news at all for Hogwarts Legacy in the last 9 months since its release. So I think it's safe to say that the job posting here is referring to the development of another game, not a DLC. Now, the unannounced AAA title from the job post is super exciting, and there's a big chance that this was talking about another Hogwarts Legacy sequel. I mean, it's with the same developers in the same location with the same AAA status. I think it has to be related to the Wizarding World. Alongside these job postings, I think it's safe to say it's a no-brainer for Warner Bros. To greenlight more Hogwarts Legacy content. The Wizarding World brings with it an absolutely massive fan base across all platforms that give the potential for Hogwarts Legacy to have a very long lifespan. As well as this, Hogwarts Legacy has made over $1 billion in revenue, so it would be crazy for Avalanche and Warner Bros. To not make any more content for this game. If we consider all of this alongside no DLC news, I do believe we will see a second Hogwarts Legacy game in the next couple of years. Now we know there's a big chance for a sequel, let's dive into what the next Hogwarts Legacy game could actually be. Yet another job listing, which is still live at the time of recording this video, points towards something a bit unexpected. Warner Bros. Are currently hiring for an executive producer, with one of the locations being Salt Lake City. Here's where it gets interesting. They are seeking a producer to direct development of games based on one of our most successful entertainment franchises. Most successful entertainment franchises from Warner Bros. Has got to mean Harry Potter, so I think we can safely assume again this is referring to Hogwarts Legacy. More interestingly, the post also says that the producer should have experience with internal and external AAA development processes, MMO development and operations, and open world RPG game experience. MMO, massively multiplayer online. This is huge news for the future of Hogwarts Legacy. I did consider that this could be about Harry Potter Quidditch Champions, but that is definitely not a AAA game, so it doesn't fit the description. It's surprising since Hogwarts Legacy is a single player RPG, you would expect the next installment to also be a single player RPG experience. But this is something that a lot of fans have always hoped for. A multiplayer Harry Potter game where you're able to explore Hogwarts and the wider Wizarding World together with your friends would be an amazing experience. An MMO would be a huge undertaking, however. I think a lot of players like the idea of a smaller co-op multiplayer game where you can play with a smaller group of friends, but either way, it sounds like multiplayer is gonna be a big part of their next Wizarding World game. Now, a big piece of news this week came from Warner Bros. CEO, which does seem to make the next Wizarding World game even more uncertain. The CEO has stated that their focus is on transforming our biggest franchises from largely console and PC based with 3-4 year release schedules to include more always on gameplay through live services, multi-platform and free-to-play extensions, with the goal to have more players spending more time on more platforms. Now, this is a bit of a shock, and the mention of live service strongly supports the MMO theory. Hogwarts Legacy was an insanely successful single-player title, but Warner Bros. Has now officially announced that they will be focusing on live service multi-platform games. I think most of us are hoping that we can have a single-player RPG sequel for Hogwarts Legacy, as well as a separate open-world multiplayer game set in the Harry Potter universe, but it doesn't look like Warner Bros. Is willing to do the former. If we look at the evidence from the executive producer job posting, as well as this CEO announcement, it's likely that the next Wizarding World game is going to be a live service MMO instead of the single-player RPG experience of Hogwarts Legacy. So what can we expect from the next game? A recent announcement by Avalanche could help us out here. Avalanche recently said that they are going to be using Unreal Engine 5 for future projects. This will be an amazing upgrade, making sure that future Wizarding World games have incredible state-of-the-art graphics. It will give the developers plenty of great tools to work with, including some brilliant physics mechanics. However, I'm sure this will take some time for the teams to adapt to, and it will also take time to port some assets used in Hogwarts Legacy over to this new engine, and basically figure everything out before they can go full steam ahead on the production. So based on this information, and with the knowledge that Hogwarts Legacy itself took around 5 years to develop, I think we can't be seeing the next installment for at least 3 years at the minimum. I think it will be sooner than the 5 previously used for Hogwarts Legacy, as Avalanche will undoubtedly be given more resources after how successful the first game was, and I definitely think there will be pressure from Warner Bros. Games to get another game out there for people to buy. With all this talk of sequels and unannounced titles, some of you guys may be wondering why there's been no official DLC news. Trust me, I would absolutely love for there to be DLC for this game, but Warner Bros. And Avalanche have made it pretty clear there are no plans for this at all. Games director Alan Tu originally stated just after the release that there were no current plans for DLC. Avalanche has also been spending the last few months prioritising the last gen console and Switch releases, even delaying the Switch release to ensure it was as smooth as possible. Now we're 9 months on from the release date and there's been no announcement for DLC. It's looking unlikely now, as DLC is usually announced pretty quickly and released within a couple of months of the original game launch. This leads to the question of what's next after the Switch release on November 14th. I really hope we get some news from Avalanche or Warner Bros. Soon, as it would be a real shame to not have any more Hogwarts Legacy content. If there's nothing over the Christmas period, I would expect something potentially on Hogwarts Legacy's 1 year anniversary in February 2024, but why Avalanche would wait a full year to announce DLC, I'm not too sure. Either way, I think DLC is now pretty unlikely for Hogwarts Legacy, as it should have been announced by now if it was going to happen. So I think we can assume that any future content we see for Hogwarts Legacy will most likely be the unannounced AAA title that we talked about earlier. I also want to quickly mention some things that I would like to see in the next Hogwarts Legacy installment. I'm going to be discussing this in more depth in a separate video, but for now, one of the biggest things for me is improvements to NPCs. Non-player characters really add to the ambience and immersion of an open world game, and Hogwarts Legacy's NPCs had a few issues, especially with the dialogue. I think a lot of us also want to see a more in-depth companion system, more familiar areas added to the map like Azkaban and Diagon Alley, as well as a proper morality system. I know the team at Avalanche really do try to listen to their audience, and I am so thankful that they added the arachnophobia mode, so let's keep our wands crossed that they do add into the next game some things that we felt were missing from the first. I'm super interested in what you guys think, so let me know in the comments, what would you like to see for the next installment? Do you want another single player title, or do you like the idea of an MMO? If you haven't already, please do hit that subscribe button for more RPG gaming news, and give the video a like if you did enjoy, as it does help me more than you know. As always, thank you for watching, see you next time.